And hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Haunted Histories, just for you guys. So, for this episode, I have jumped across the pond, and I'm interviewing a lovely couple who I've just found out were high school sweethearts merely yesterday, that I got to meet when I was over in the States with the lovely Wes Coleman and the equally lovely Rachel Ashman. And I was being my typical nosy self. They have an interesting surname. And so me being me asked where the surname is from. Now, some people get offended when I ask that. They think I'm being judgmental. It's not. It's not. I am just very, very nosy. And they have now been coined, the surname has been shortened. They are now known as Team Koko. But we have Carmella and Todd Kokotajlo.
Perfect.
Is
Got
that
it.
okay?
That
Yep,
is perfect.
perfect.
Spot on, Penny. Thank you very much.
Well, I say I do offend people because I'm so fascinated by like names and words and where they've come from that I do ask people, "Oh, so where's your surname from?" And some people get really offended with me and think I'm being sort of xenophobic or something, and it really isn't. It's just I'm nosy but fascinated.
Just curious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's a perfectly natural
We get it
question
all the
to
time.
ask.
good, good. Well, I'm
People
glad it
think we're
didn't.
Hawaiian though.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I could, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I could see that. I thought maybe Native American, but
We've
when
even we've even gotten Asian.
no, no,
I know, but I've gotten it. It's like, no, not Asian, not Hawaiian.
it's Polish, isn't it? Your surname's
It's
Polish.
Polish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Do you know what? Always amazes me about America as it's the variety of people and surnames and cultures. And I mean, we say that the UK is a bit of a melting pot, but I don't think we have the breadth of surnames that you guys do.
Definitely.
It's
We
always
are a melting pot.
fascinating. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. But yeah, you two was high school sweethearts.
Yes.
Yes, we met through a mutual friend back in 1990. We met through a mutual friend.
Giving our
Oh.
age
Yeah,
away.
it's not
That's
trying to give away our
nice.
age. We're
You were
young.
still at nursery school. You were only
That's right.
toddlers.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'll
Yeah.
save it. I'll save it.
And yeah, and it took me, I think, only like 4 or 5 times before of asking her out before she finally said yes. I was going to give up on the last try, but she said yes, and then once she said yes, we've been inseparable, and we've been together we just celebrated our 28th wedding anniversary on
Oh,
October 26th, and 34 years of being together.
that is so lovely. That is so lovely. Congratulations. It's lovely to hear of
And we're
a
only
couple.
29,
And we're
so
only
figure
20.
that out.
Exactly. Exactly. You're mere babies. You're mere babies.
Thank you.
And um and you're from New Jersey, which as I was saying to you that some people may not know where New Jersey is because it seems to not it's not as famous as it's well, probably as Pennsylvania or New York State, is it? I think it sometimes gets forgotten.
Yeah, we're little, so I think people forget about us, but we have so much here that we're even learning about that there's so much to do here.
Yeah, we're crammed between Pennsylvania, New York, and Delaware.
Mm,
And the
yeah.
and the running and the running joke is what did Delaware, a New Jersey?
So what would you I mean, apart from Bruce Springsteen and Bon Jovi, what is New Jersey famous for? If someone was to visit New Jersey, what should they be looking for?
Well, you have our Columbus market that everybody knows about, right?
Right. So yeah, we live in Columbus, New Jersey, which is just a little bit south of the state capital, which is Trenton, New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I mean, the state itself, its motto is the Garden State because it does have a rich history of gardening, agricultural, between fruit production, vegetable production, um, not aviary, not birds, equestrian, a lot of horse farms in the state of
Oh,
New Jersey.
okay.
Yeah, believe it or not, a lot of state. And then, one thing that I'm sure in the those listening in the paranormal field may or may not have heard of the Jersey Devil.
Yes.
Um, but there, I think we have it's the New Jersey Pine Barrens, which is like 1 point some million acres of,
Wow.
of pine barrens, and you know you can easily get lost in the Pine Barrens, and
Yeah. Wow. Definitely sounds like there's more to
you
it
may
than
never be
just.
seen or heard of them again. And then from a paranormal perspective, we actually we're blessed where we're located. We it's just amazing how much history is in
Mm,
the state. And literally from us where we met you at White Hill Mansion,
yes. Yeah.
and then literally closer, what we're going to talk, the location we're going to talk about today, West Hill Manor, that's 10 minutes. And then there's
Wow.
even another place that we came across. It's called Peachfield. I'll send you the link for it also. It's
Hmm.
called Peachfield Plantation, and it all has ties back to the European roots and stuff like that. So it's even though obviously we're America, United States, our roots come from European descendant.
I
It's
mean, well, yeah. I mean, we have an island in the Channel Islands that's Jersey. You've got New Jersey. Obviously, York, the city, is in North Yorkshire. You've got New York. So yeah, I mean, it was one of the games that Rachel and I were playing when we were sort of driving down from Toronto because we came to New York State first because we went to the Shanley and then drove down to Philadelphia. It was spot the English names of places, and it was quite fun playing spot the name. There was not a lot original. It was
no,
even in Canada, even in parts of Canada, we were like, yeah, we got one of those back home. We got one of those back home. We got one of the. It was yeah, it was a good game. Kept her quiet. Kept her quiet for a bit of the drive. You know, when you got to amuse the kids when you're driving, sort of let Wes concentrate, and it was like spot the names you recognise. Um, well, we're going to be talking about West Hill, but and your group is known as 222
PIR. So
PIR.
paranormal investigation research.
Ah, okay. How many times have you been to the manor at West Hill?
Uh,
At
four,
least I bet,
four,
yeah.
4 or 5 times now,
Right.
in a 2 year period. So it's a wonderful location.
Mm.
We came about it through a mutual friend, her name, who's the point of contact, Beth O'Brien.
Uh-huh.
Not sure if you met her when you were over here.
No, but I've seen her on
Really
some of
good
the
show.
videos about
Yep,
the place.
yep.
Yeah.
She's from us.
Right.
Same thing, rich history. A lot of activity, very active location. But yeah, we kind of met her through there, and then she kind of introduced us to West Hill roughly about 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and been there, being close, and it was, from a it's about from a fee perspective, it was very affordable, very
Hmm.
minimal to go in. Um, and basically you had the whole place to yourself,
Wow.
for basically I think like six at midnight we would have like
Hmm.
6 hours when you go in.
Because it's preserved as a historic house now,
Yes.
isn't
Yes.
it? How
So
how long has it been in that sort of how long has it not been a residential?
so going back, because you mentioned going back to Yorkshire, so I just came across an article, when I was doing a little bit of research too, for the podcast today. It was actually owned by the property dates back to like where is it at? 1681. The property was originally purchased from the Yorkshire Company by Samuel Jennings in 1681
Oh, right.
after after the business managed it on behalf of England's Charles II.
Hmm.
Uh, and this is just there was an article that I saw, I'll send it to you, from a gentleman named Joe, who is a Mason. So long story short, after it was purchased back, the property was purchased back in 1682. It changed a couple times over the hands, different ownerships.
Hmm.
And then the house itself is about 250 years
Yeah,
oldish.
1799, I think, was the
Yeah,
date that they
17,
say it was completed,
yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah.
when it was completed. And yeah, so it was, I lost my train of thought.
When it was,
When it was built, right?
well,
Yeah, so how long has it been a like a
Oh,
historical
oh,
I was
monument? Yeah.
right.
so it was probably in the 60s. It was purchased, I believe, in the 1960s or so. Was the last residence, and then 80, maybe like the 70s, 80s. It's now in the possession of the Masons. So
Yeah.
the Masons actually own the property, and there's actually where the location is located. Um, it's on the property. It's like a retirement community for the members of the Mason organization, and it's like a retirement community. But on that property is maintained by the Masons, West Hill Manor.
That, I mean, I found that out today myself as I was doing sort of, and I mean, ironically, my day job here in the UK is I advise people who are going into care on how to pay for their care fees. So finding out that it was placed now in basically a Masonic
Gotcha.
retirement village, I was like, wow, that is another weird link. But we don't have those kind of retirement
Mhm.
villages in the UK. We don't have the space for them. You kind of have apartments and or care homes. But I did find someone who'd commented that their family was the last ones to live in it and they sold it to the Masons. I think it was in the late 80s.
Yes, yes, yes.
But it's not that long that it's been a residential property, but there seems to be very little I was able to track for previous owners. There seems to be very little online. It seemed to have just gone about its business. Does that make sense? It's very sort of
Yeah,
hasn't left
yeah,
a
yeah.
massive footprint.
Yeah, no, and that's yeah.
Mhm.
For the most part, it was aside from when it was built in 1790, completed in 1799.
Mm.
Samuel and Susanna Emlyn,
Yeah.
lived in it for a number of years, and then it was purchased by the Gurley, Eliza Gurley, um, and then it was passed on through onto relatives, and then finally they sold.
Mm.
It's been, it's been it's one of those unique places that really wasn't on, maybe even though there was ownership, but I think it was kept within families for
Mm.
generations.
Mm.
So maybe why there's not a lot, online, so to speak. But
Yeah.
um, I could put you into contact with Beth, and um, Joe Rival, who is and his wife, um, Judy, are the caretakers. Excuse me, are the caretakers of the historian aspect
Mm.
of the upkeep and preservation of the manor and stuff. So, and that's what kind of what got us into the paranormal. We love history, and then going back to everything that we've done. Um, we As long as we've been together, we really just started doing formal investigations about 2 years ago,
Right.
and but before that, whenever we would go on vacation, we would do haunted history, and because it always interested us. Then we had an opportunity in our local town to investigate, and hook, line, and sinker, we were in head first
Well,
to
I mean,
investigate.
I'm obviously going to say this as a historian. I don't know how you can do the paranormal without having a history element to it anyway. And I've spoken to quite. I mean, because I straddle both sort of fields, if that makes sense. I straddle the paranormal
Yeah,
field
no, absolutely.
and the history field. I sort of know historians and I know paranormal investigators, and some of the historians I know are a bit like they kind of poo-poo the whole paranormal side, but that's because they don't really understand. They think it's all people going in and every single like they think is a ghost trying to come. And I was like, it's not like that. It really isn't. And when I've sort of sat down and talked to some of them, they've actually gone, well, actually, when I was doing this filming at this place, and it's like, see, that's what the paranormal is. The paranormal isn't a grey lady walking past you. That's a sighting. The paranormal is something that's not normal that you can't explain. That's paranormal. And when they sort of realize it's not all sort of it's a ghost kind of thing, they actually sort of see it in a new light. But you mentioned the original owner, well, the 18th century original owners, Samuel and Susanna Emlyn. They were Quakers. Yeah. So was there a very strong Quaker presence in Burlington?
Yes, there was. So
Yeah.
yeah, they were prominent Quakers in Philadelphia, and the whole reason uh, West Hill was built was to get away from the yellow fever
Yeah.
in Philadelphia, and they wanted to. they wanted to get out of Dodge, so to speak, and
Yeah.
which makes sense to be safe,
Well, yellow
um,
fever is
from a health
not
perspective.
particularly, it's not nice. And if I was able to escape something like that, I think I would. But it does seem that with poor Susanna, she,
Yeah,
she,
so
eh, I mean, right. I, when I was reading what she went through, I grimaced. Um, I don't know if it's the same way when blokes are watching something and they see someone get kicked in their private parts, they all grimace. My son and my husband all do it when they see something like that. They go, "Oh!"
Right,
I
right.
grimace because of what she went through. And now, this is a trigger warning. Some people might get upset about this, but it's got. I can't sugarcoat it. Really, what happened to her? Um, she discovered she had a breast tumor. And from what I read, you please jump in and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. Um, she decided to try and treat it almost homeopathically for quite some time, but then realized it wasn't going to work. And she had, I mean, this is mind blowing. In the early 19th century, she had a mastectomy without anesthetic, experimental surgery in her own home.
Correct.
And
Yep.
what's even more amazing, not only did she go through this without anything like antibiotics, because they didn't exist then, anesthetic didn't exist then. Um, she survived for 5 years afterwards.
Yeah, that's amazing, right? That's
It's,
crazy.
I mean, even the anesthetic thing is bad enough. I mean,
Hmm.
and I'm not dissing men against women here, but women are meant to have naturally a higher pain threshold because they
Yes.
have to go through childbirth and everything else. But to actually survive it as well without an infection, because they didn't understand it, infection control back then. And so to survive major surgery and not get a subsequent infection, that it just there's an awful lot of
Blows
women.
your mind.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of women now who should be thanking people like Susanna for what she went through because she was one of the very earliest,
First.
wasn't she? Mastectomy
I think she was
survivors.
first in New Jersey, right?
I think, yeah, it may have been the first in New Jersey of breast cancer survivors.
Yeah. But
So, and
it's
yeah,
what a woman. And do we know the room in the house that she had the operation in?
In her bedroom.
Her bedroom. Oh. So is she still there, do you think? Is she still in
Oh
her
yeah,
room?
I think so. I mean, we've heard her.
we are pretty. I mean, as nothing's 100%, so to speak. But I would say we're pretty much 99.9999%
Yeah.
sure that, through the investigations we've done there, that, her spirit is still hides in the on the property page.
Right.
And our first visit was December of 23, I believe it was. And we were actually doing an investigation. And what I'm going to do is, I know it before the show had started, I had sent you some videos
Hmm.
and clips and stuff. What I do is I actually did I'll put together, I have a Dropbox, and I created a file. And what
Hmm.
I'll do is it's files of audio and video clips, and then I'll
Hmm.
send them to you. And you can,
Thank you.
if you're, to put it with there that way, so people, when they listen to this, if they can go to your website
Yeah, definitely.
and kind of, see the experiences that that we've had, and, kind of put everything together, what they're hearing on today's show. Um, but our first visit, we were in the upstairs bedroom, and this is personal for me, as an investigator, as we were we were getting a decent amount of responses, and then um, the other couple that we were there with, Carmella, they had gone downstairs to the kitchen. We were just kind of taking a little bit of break, and we were going to go to a different part of the house to investigate.
Hmm.
So I had a tripwire set up in the bedroom, and I was collecting that. So I'm like, all right, I'm by myself. I said, now that I'm by myself, can are you able to give me a sign, Susanna, if you're here with me? And so I'm collecting, and, I there's audio, but then also video capture. I'm collecting the tripwire. And then from where her bedroom, there was two kind of entryways into the room. On the
Hmm.
far side of the room, you'll see me in a video. I walk out, and then there's another bedroom across the kind of in a adjacent hallway. I go out, and actually even before that, and I didn't catch it until after on review. I heard multiple what sounded like a female voice, kind of screaming out in pain, almost
Hmm.
whether it was residual from the surgery or post surgery of possible pain that she may have been in.
Mm.
And then I walked out of the room, and then I actually heard, and is captured on audio, um, actually a high pitch, a female voice go, ah, and
Mm.
I actually heard it disembodied with my own ear. You see me walk back into the room, and then you hear me on camera and see me on camera and say, that's interesting, because it's like that you're in amazement. It's like, did you just really actually hear that with your own ear type of
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
And if you've never experienced a disembodied uh, voice with nobody else in the room with you, and when you go downstairs and ask after the fact, hey, did anybody scream? And you get responses of, no, it wasn't us. Then you're like, huh. it's
Yeah.
it's a little not unnerving, but it's just you're like, wow, that's pretty amazing that that just happened.
I think disembodied voices are one of my favorite phenomena. They're one of the things that really can stop me in my tracks. And did you hear that? And I do find sometimes it's always when I always seem to get them when I haven't put any recording equipment on because
Right.
I'm just doing a walk around. Or I had one when I filmed one of the episodes of Help My House is Haunted, and we were stood in it would have been the graveyard for the mental hospital that we were filming by. And we heard a young woman say, Penny. I was with Jane Harris. She was stood next to me. And I turned round. There was only one person it could have been. So we asked her if it was her. And no, I didn't say anything. But we both heard it distinct, a female voice say, Penny. And that's not Penny can't be you can't wind can't make that sound. There
Right.
was nobody else around. It was right next to us, right next
Right.
to where we were
That's
standing.
like
It's scary.
that's like Carmela's voice.
What's that?
No, yeah. So it's even when you hear that and like your name, even Carmela's name, Carmela's
Very odd.
very
Yeah,
odd name,
yeah,
not a common name. And when
yeah.
you hear that, and it's like we were at a location. It's a local, aside from West Hill, where she had an experience
What
uh,
was it?
in a prison,
Oh, the
the
prison.
prison.
I thought you were talking about in the basement of White Hill.
Oh,
Or,
oh, that too. Yeah, no,
yeah.
no. So yeah, so it was. We were in the basement actually of White Hill, and
Yeah.
her name came across, was heard, and she was like, "Yep, no, I'm done."
I'm done.
Was that where
Nope.
the bar area is at White
Yeah,
Hill?
the
Yes.
bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we can relate to, it is a unique experience when it does happen. It doesn't obviously happen all the time.
No.
Um,
It is one of
but
my favorites, but I never seem to have anything recording when it happens, which is really frustrating because but then fortunately, I'm normally not on my own. So somebody else can go, I heard that. Did you hear? I heard that.
Right. Makes
Um,
you feel better, right?
yeah, makes me
and
think
just to make sure that you're not hearing voices and you're crazy.
nobody wants to hear the voices I hear in my head. No, 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 it might traumatize
That's
them.
what I say all the time.
So
That's
so
what I say. You don't want to get inside my head. I'd scare the heck
No, it's a scary place. It's a scary place.
out of
Yeah.
you.
But yeah, so Susanna, I mean, if she is still there, I do
Yes.
hope it's
Yep.
almost residual as opposed to she's still in pain because I mean,
right.
the courage to go through with that rather than just sort of, pass away. And yeah, I do phenomenal, a phenomenal woman. But from one phenomenal woman onto another phenomenal woman. In 1851, Eliza Gurney moved there 3 years after the death of her husband. Um, and Eliza was again another Quaker. She was a minister, I believe, a Quaker minister. And she was also a very, very vehement abolitionist. Now, for those people who don't know what an abolitionist is, people who wanted to get rid of slavery.
Correct.
Um,
Yeah.
she yeah, fascinating lady. And I'm going to come on to the Honest Abe link in a minute. But what I found when I was researching her, which kind of blew my mind, the surname rang a bell, Gurney, the surname. Um, and when I started researching, I discovered that it had links to where I grew up in England, in a place called Norwich, in Norfolk. The Gurney family were very well known Quakers in Norfolk. In fact, I actually had a flat once on Gurney Road in Norfolk, well, in Norwich. Obviously, she married into the Gurney family, but it, some people, you may not have heard of her. I think it would have been her sister-in-law, was a lady by the name of Elizabeth Fry, who is incredibly famous in England anyway, as campaigning for the improvement of prisons, and the abolition of capital punishment as well. And that was her sister-in-law. So this family are they are well, they're known for believing, pushing forward what I would say the good elements of their religion, like the treating people kindly and all of that thing. They also, I think it was Eliza and her husband, formed somewhere called Earlham College in Indiana, and they called it
Yes, yes.
they called. Do you know why they called it that? Because
I
the
do.
home, the Gurney home in Norwich was called Earlham Hall.
Ah, did not know that. And
There
that
you go.
there's so much. I know there's a lot of information, and even when even though we do have when you go into investigate, uh, there is a lot of information, historical information
Mm.
printed out,
Yeah.
placed around the home, and we haven't even had a chance to really dive into it.
Well, part of me was wondering why, because I saw a few I found when I was looking in the sort of ancestry archives that Eliza had travelled to Norfolk quite a few times. And that sort of I thought was an odd place. If you're going to England, that's not normally where most people are going to go. I mean, it's not the easiest place to get to. And she travelled, and then when I found the Gurney link and the fact that she did go out there quite a lot to to practice the religion, to meet up with the family members. And it was kind of what a weird synchronicity that the place that I grew up in, this
Yeah, that is weird.
American lady has links to. But I also I'm going to let you guys talk in a minute, I promise. But I
Yeah, no,
also
you're good. You're good.
I also found
You're giving us a history lesson because we don't know.
that's my trick. This is something that I've been doing this show now for 8, 9 years. And it's a standing joke that I always tell the guests something they didn't know about the location. So I can't let the side down.
There you go.
There you go. But what I found about Eliza, she was also a poet and she published poems. And I want to read you one of the verses from one of her poems, if that's okay. It's called
Absolutely.
the poem's called Kindness. And I think this verse is lovely, right? Kindness soothes the bitter anguish. Kindness wipes the falling tear. Kindness cheers us when we languish. Kindness makes a friend more dear. Isn't that just
That's
lovely?
yeah, that's
It
very
is
beautiful. And if
true.
it's a very very short, simple, sweet poem that rings true, and in this crazy world that
Yeah.
it is today, we wish everybody kind of lived that motto, so to
There,
speak.
there are more verses to it, but that was the one verse. I just
Yeah,
thought
yeah, no, no, yeah,
I thought, well, if she could come up with something like that, she must have been a really kind and wonderful person to, the fact that kindness makes a friend more. It's just so true, isn't it? That kindness can wipe away that
yeah,
tear.
Yes,
Kindness
it can.
absolutely.
and maybe, be more kind should be a motto. But one of the things that she was very against, as I said, was slavery. And she had a relationship, not a physical sexual relationship, but a friend correspondence relationship with probably one of the most famous Americans ever,
Indeed.
Abraham
Honest Abe.
Lincoln, Honest
Yeah,
Abe. Yeah,
honest Abe.
she was kind of friends with him, wasn't she?
Yes, she
Yes,
was.
she was.
And yeah, when we first got to the location and Beth introduced us, and just from the historical information that's in the house, and kind of you know talking with Joe, the caretaker from the Masons,
Mm.
it's like the first time you hear it, you're like, holy, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing that, hey, this is
Oh,
all this
you can swear
the
on this show. You
connections.
can swear on this show. Trust me, I do quite a lot as I get warmed up.
I hear you. So yeah, so just the historical aspect of you that connection. Like you said, it was a mutual respect,
Yeah.
intellectual correspondent relationship. And the amazing part was, and I'm not stealing your thunder, I hope, but so unfortunately, when Lincoln was assassinated,
Yeah.
uh, Eliza had written a note, a letter to Abraham Lincoln, President Lincoln, and I think it was like 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And he actually, when he was assassinated, that letter was in his pocket
Yep. Yep. I
and
was
had
reading some of the
on it from when
correspondence
he got
today.
assassinated.
Yeah. I
I'm
was
not mistaken.
No, it's true. It's true. I was reading some of the correspondence between the two of them today that's online, and one of the things, and there's my dog in the background. One of the things that they they said that she did for him is that like I say, I'm not religious. I don't have a faith, but he had kind of lost his faith because of losing his son, I believe, and everything else. And
Right.
she'd been trying to get to meet him for quite some time to talk to him about um abolition of slavery and everything else. And according to the stuff I was reading, her and her other Quaker colleagues, for want of a better term, had kind of given up on getting to meet the president. And then it was on the 26th of October, 1862, all of a sudden they were told, yes, he will meet with you. And apparently that's what started the correspondence because he counseled him. She kind of spiritually
Yes,
counseled him, and you can read in some of the letters the gratitude he had for her getting him to see things in a different way. Um, it's quite
Hmm.
my dog's going to annoy me now. He wants to come in. He can hear me talking, and it means that there might be an intruder that I'm talking to that he hasn't vetted.
we have a German short hair pointer, and she just
Ah,
stepped out of the room. We were kind of holding her off too because we weren't giving her attention, and she was like, "Hey, pay attention to me. Pay attention to."
yeah. She counseled him. She gave him back a sort of a different way of looking at things. And it can't have been normal for the 1860s for, well, a man to have that kind of relationship with a woman because even back then, women wouldn't have been seen as being and so for him to actually recognize someone who's an intellectual equal and someone who he can learn from, I think that kind of shows the man he was and also how clever she was.
Absolutely, yeah. Because then obviously back in that day, if you were married, that would have been something that was maybe frowned upon.
Mm,
Having that type of comments or whatever.
mm,
You know, but yeah, it speaks to her character and the strength of her as a woman, as an
mm.
individual.
As an individual, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, so when you asked us to be on the show, we appreciate it, and this was kind of fitting. I thought the ties and not knowing the Gurney tie
Yeah.
uh, relation, so everything, and it's funny, and just what you just said there, we believe in karma. You
Yeah.
know, we do believe things, balance, spirit, harmony, all that type of stuff. Um, the date that you said, then I forgot about that. October 26th is when kind of that's our wedding anniversary. So it's like it's everything kind of full circle. So
Well, actually, even another one is we're recording this on the 4th of November. It was the 8th of November that Eliza passed away. So again, there's another weird
Yeah.
karmic karmic link. But before we get to that, um, underneath the house are tunnels,
Hmm.
I believe.
yes, The,
and it's believed that they could have been part of what was called the Underground Railroad.
Yes.
yes. Yeah.
Unfor Sorry, go
Yeah. No,
on.
you're good. Yeah. So there's believed to have been two tunnels leading out to barns on the property that are obviously are no longer there.
Hmm.
But yeah, there it is. But the whole area of Burlington County where we are in, where these properties are located, was very much a very strong part of the Railroad.
Yeah.
So they're definitely tied to it.
I mean, the shame is there's not. I mean, I was doing my best to find some kind of full-on link to West Hill and but any of the Underground Railroad sort of descriptions. But unfortunately, there's a lot. It's not really documented that much because of the fact it was illegal.
Right.
And also, if people, obviously, if the slave hunters, for want of a better term, knew where these people were going, they would have gone there themselves because the laws were changed to allow them to actually take back, even if they were in a free state, people who they felt belonged to someone else. So it was so secret. Um, but the fact that those individuals actually trying to help the slaves get free, and a lot of them wanted to go to Canada, I believe, and they called it the Promised Land,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
which I'm sure Wes Coleman would agree with, that Canada is the promised land. Um,
Yes, we actually just saw West over on Saturday
yeah,
at the New Jersey Para Unity.
I was loving the photos. I felt a bit of like FOMO that I wasn't there. But hopefully I'll get to see everyone. I'm coming over for the Penhurst Paracon in May, so hopefully
Yes.
lots of people will come to that and
Yep.
come and say hello. Um,
Absolutely.
I'll have my own stall. I'll be selling my books and everything. So yeah. So these tunnels. There's an awful lot of properties that weren't ever logged as being what they call the stations. Because everything was named after things to do with railroads. So if you were one of those people who was helping people escape through your property, you were known as a station master. So I was going to ask, have you ever asked Eliza when you're there, were you a station master?
I don't think so.
I don't believe we ever asked that particular question of Eliza. There is one room downstairs that is the lib called the library,
Hmm.
and that was evidently her favorite room in the on the property.
Hmm.
And part of there's a couple of the clips that'll be in that link that I'll send to you. That shows the interactions that we had with kind of tying into the religion and then music.
Hmm.
Um, we actually did get it wasn't like I said direct question to Eliza if she had you know helped out with the Underground Railroad.
We have a
We
truck
have an
backing
Amazon
up.
truck backing up. If you
The
hear that
windows
annoying
open.
beep beep beep.
No, I can't hear it, but you're fine. You're fine.
Okay. So we during Q&A sessions on the property, we did get voices that came through on a Phasma box that did kind of have relevance to slave, the Underground Railroad, and uh, um, that they were present. They may, not necessarily that they were servants in the house, but more we think more tied to Underground Railroad of
Mm,
passing through.
yeah. I mean, with New Jersey bordering sort of Delaware and Maryland, which were slave states, we know that there would have been a lot of people came through on their way. But when I was sort of saying about how mind blown I was by Susanna Emlyn, it blew my mind about Eliza Gurney. It blows my mind the journey those people would have had to take, because I know how long it took us to drive down from
Right.
Toronto down, and doing this secretly, like literally sort of only sort of 10, 15 miles at a time.
Right.
Um,
And then a lot of times I'm
In
sure
the dark.
in the dark,
yeah, yeah.
middle of
It
the night.
the only direct link I can find to I could find to West Hill was there's a pharmacy on the high street called Burlington Pharmacy, and that was
Yep.
known to have had links, like verified links to the Underground Railroad, and also it was where the Quakers used to have they used to have kind of, I suppose, illegal meetings
I
about
will
abolition.
Yeah. I'll send you um I'll send you a link. There is it's Burlington County, it's the county website, and they have a designated site that is what's the name of the park that's near us? Uh the, in West Hampton. No, West Hampton. I forget, I'm having a brain fart of the park. But there's a museum. There's the remember when we walked around? It's the what's the name of the park? I can't even think. But I'll send you the link.
It'll
There's
come to you. It'll
it'll
come to
come.
you.
I'm having a brain fart. But
See,
there,
I can blame menopause when I have brain moments like that. I don't think
that
you
may have a
can,
little bit of
Todd.
information.
I don't think you can.
Me, I said I'll give away my age. I just turned 51, and it's like 51 in my brain is like turns to mush. It seems like it turns to mush every other day.
Well, I'm 51, and I can confirm. Yeah, it's when you forget your own name, or you turn around and point to the children, and say, can you shut the wobbly thing?" And you mean window,
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's great when you do what I do for this, when you're trying to come up with facts and you know the answer, but it just isn't quite there yet.
Not
It's
coming.
yeah, it's frustrating, but I mean, I have so much admiration though for these people who were putting their lives at risk to save people because it went against. I mean, how you can feel you can own people is I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. But they were exposing themselves to try and protect people they felt shouldn't be having to lead the lives that they were leaving. And then when you get stories of people who were actually freemen, the slave traders actually kidnapping them and saying, "I bet you're not really free," and taking them back to new owners, and it's it's horrific in my view. It's horrific. And so for people who were prepared to stand up and try and help, um, I've got nothing but admiration
Yes.
for
Yeah.
them.
So while you were giving
You
us
just
that
sent
look,
me a link. It's
I
just
just
come
sent
up on
you a
my
link.
phone. Yeah.
So yeah, the
So
park
what's the
that's
name of
maybe
the park
10 minutes.
then?
It's Smithville Park. It's called, and there's a Burlington County underground. It's a Underground Railroad Museum.
Yeah,
They might they might have maybe some other new information that.
yeah. Oh, trust me, if I was doing a deep dive on this, I would be traveling out and I would be going to the local archives and I would be in there for hours and hours and hours. It's one of those things trying to research shows when I'm on the wrong side of the world and you're hoping as much as possible has been digitized so you can look into it. But so I mean, you mentioned that you think you've had stuff through that corroborates slaves having gone through the area.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Has anyone else discovered stuff that you've talked to other people who've
I
investigated the
would say
property?
so. Yeah, so we are friends with another group of investigators that have been in there probably just as equally as much as us. Uh, it's Spectro Paranormal, I think, and Future Go. It's all the same group, but they Future Ghosts, um, the name of the group. But they've had very similar when they've posted kind of findings and stuff like that. They've had similar, um, responses with the screaming disembodied voices captured on EVP. Well, have been um, and other stuff relating to Liza, and then also I believe the doctors that performed the surgery.
Hmm.
And then I'm trying to remember. I'd have to reach out to them as far as the Underground Railroad. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I would imagine that they've gotten similar type of responses um,
Mm.
in reference to that.
So
So, but
does the house, so you know how sometimes you can go into a property and it feels like you're intruding, a bit ominous, like you're not wanted to be there. But then you can go into other properties and you feel you could just sit there, kick off your shoes and relax. How does this
yes,
house feel? How does it feel? What's
I'm gonna let Carmela speak to this. So as long as we've been together, which is only been 5 days, relationship wise, she's always um she's a sensitive.
Yep.
And now, as long as with the 34 years we've been together, I've always kind of looked at her funny over those years. Thought she may have been a little, crazy. Others, mediums and stuff. And now we were at one investigation and she was like, I feel something. And go ahead, I'll let you take over. No, I know, but I'm just saying in general, leading into, your feel of West Hill.
So I don't think it's negative.
Yep.
The basement was a little off. Like you felt like something was down there that didn't want you down there.
Hmm.
Her room, I saw somebody looking out the window and I took that picture, remember?
Yeah.
Because there's her bedroom and the room that's connected to it is like a sitting room that people would wait to go in to visit her.
Okay.
There was a male face that was in the window, and I kept saying to him, "Somebody's staring at us." And he's like, "No, stop! You're just crazy." And then I showed him the picture, and he's like, "Oh shit, that is a person. It's a man staring at us."
Wow.
Uh, but you could, I mean, nothing negative. I don't think I could kick my shoes off and sit there. I don't like to be anywhere alone.
Right. Right. It's just,
So I
like
don't
I
think it
say,
was negative.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get, yeah. We don't feel as though that it is,
I
it's
mean,
a,
I could walk into a room and go, "Nope, not coming in here."
Yep,
yeah,
me
you don't
too.
get that feel.
You
Yeah.
don't
You
get
don't
that there.
feel when you're there.
Not there.
Definitely not. I would say it's a
But up upstairs,
welcoming, you know,
it was a little off upstairs. We had
Okay.
that voice.
Yeah, so we were upstairs, in the one floor. So which
Tables move in there apparently, but we didn't see
yeah,
anything move. But people have said things have moved.
we had gone upstairs to the third floor, which there was one room that's called the toy room, and we were just in a room. This was the first room we were going to go into, and
This
it
was
was
the
a
first
toy
time we
room,
were up there.
and the first time we were actually up there because we spent so much time in Susanna's room doing Q&A session and trying to
Mm.
gather
Hot.
information, and it was
It
hot
was
too.
really
It
hot.
was a little warm
It
when
was in the
yeah,
summer.
it was in the summer when we went. And so we're just kind of talking around, and you'll see it in the one. It will be one part of the link that I sent you.
Hmm.
We're just talking. It's like, all right, blah, 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 blah. And next thing you know, you hear, and we didn't hear it disembodied, but it was EVP capture, and you
Hmm.
hear a male voice, dolls, and you hear yeah, and
Hmm.
like, and then we hear what was it?
Get out.
Get out.
Like he didn't want us
Yeah.
in there.
He's like, go leave or go home or something
When
like
I
that.
closed my eyes, what I saw was a man that looked like a Quaker.
Yep.
He had a beard. Like he didn't look happy when I closed my eyes. That's what I saw. And then on the video, we hear "Get out."
So yeah, so
I wonder if it was Samuel and he was looking after Susanna.
it's possible, yeah. So, and like I said,
Yeah,
it's very possible,
we said
right?
that too. We thought maybe it
Mm.
too. They were tired of us at that point. Maybe they just wanted us out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Don't worry,
yeah,
I'm a sensitive too, and for many years my husband's thought I was bonkers until I've been proved right a few times, and I've the intuition has gone, nope, we're not going down that bit, not going in that room, and yeah.
Right.
So and actually my older son he started investigating, and even though he's a typical bullheaded teenager, he's got that sensitivity thing. He can link into things, and there's a few times I've seen him look uncomfortable, and I'm like, "You don't like it in here, do you?" And he went, "No, I don't feel right." And so even he's picking up on it. So
Yeah,
no,
yeah. Just get out. That's what I was saying. Oh,
yeah,
get out.
yeah. It saved my skin on a few occasions. I know that kind of intuition and sensitivity to things.
Yes.
Well, I do have a favour to ask. Are you likely to be going back to West Hill anytime soon?
We can, sure. We'd
we
love to.
we. It's funny you asked that. We were definitely because it's been a little. Yes. The short answer is yes. We plan on going back. So I was actually thinking about reaching out, knowing that we were going to be doing this. Talk about West Hill to reach
Yeah.
Beth and say, hey, are there any dates available?
Well, I would like you to do me a favour. I would like you to do a little trigger experiment for
We want
me.
to come back in and do another investigation.
Yeah, do a little trigger
Sure.
experiment for me. I'd like you to read out one of Eliza's poems whilst you're in there and tell her that someone in England has read it and loved it.
Okay, absolutely.
See
We'll do it.
if that's
Send that poem to me, or if you could send it to us, and then we'll
yeah.
definitely do that and see
See
what
if
type
it's
of response that we get.
yeah. You can also drop in that I grew up in Norwich or anything like that. But I
Yep,
just think
yep.
reading that out, I think it was so evocative.
Hmm.
I just wonder if she'd be pleased that her poems are still being read 200 years later.
Later, yeah.
But thank
Yeah, I think
what
she would.
one of my last questions I'm going to ask you guys, and I do tend to ask most people this, where would be on your bucket list to investigate? Where would you, given the opportunity, money is no object, being allowed into the place is no object, dream location to investigate?
That's a good one.
I've answered this before. I've always said Italy, but I would love to go to Ireland. I would love to go to where's that forest?
Oh, Japan,
Japan.
the
Oh, what, the suicide forest?
suicide forest, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but it just, the stigma, the lure of it, I guess, so to
Hmm.
speak, mysteriousness behind it. Uh, I, Mine was always going to Ireland or over in the UK to some type of castle.
Okay.
We don't have, I mean, we have some castles but they're not
Not
castles like
really.
what
Yeah.
you have over there.
Yeah.
That would be, I'd like to do a big tour of castles.
Well, we could keep you occupied with castles here. Be it ruins, be it ones that are still sort of have been repaired. Oh yes, we know we have many castles in Britain. Many castles. You see, one of the places I'd like to go is actually in Poland.
All
Oh,
right.
really?
Yeah. Well,
Where exactly?
the Wolf's Lair.
Okay.
Mhm.
I want to say I've heard of that. Yes.
You've heard of that? It was hit one of Hitler's kind of
Yep.
camps.
Yep. Yep.
And it's somewhere I'd love to visit because it actually, let's say, talking about historians suddenly deciding that maybe there is something in it. It's one of the places that converted a historian friend of mine. She used to work, she's Polish, half Polish, and she used to work at Auschwitz as one of their historians. So she saw some pretty gnarly stuff on a
I can't even
day by
imagine.
day basis. Well, her and her dad, I think he's the Polish side. You can stay at the Wolf's Lair, that you can actually sleep in some of the beds in one of the buildings that wasn't destroyed, and
Oh, wow.
they had a paranormal experience. Well, he had the paranormal experience there, which actually changed their outlook on, for want of a better term, ghosts. And because I'm fascinated by military history and stuff, that's somewhere that I'd like to go, but
Absolutely.
maybe one
Yep.
day.
One
One
day,
day.
for
So
sure.
many places.
Carmela's half Irish. She's half Italian, half Irish.
Ah,
I'm half Italian, half Polish. So, but yeah, she's got family that we at some point in I think, what is it, Ungle,
Mhm.
Ireland, that we're gonna try and get over there in the very not too far future. We
Mhm.
actually may be coming over, hopping across the pond later in September, later in 2025.
yeah.
So we're thinking.
Well,
Oh,
So,
we're quite
what's
nice
that?
here, despite what people think. We are quite nice. But I
I
say,
was
Ireland is, if you've ever never been to Ireland, it's such an amazing place. I've been there quite a few times, and yeah, it always puts a smile on your face.
I know
I
Ireland.
that's what it says.
I promised.
I'll get there.
So I know when you guys were at the festival, I was trying to send over cannolis to Rachel, but they they don't send very well. It's a
No.
tough task. So I told her, she did say, well, we will be over in May for Pinhurst. I says,
Yeah.
you know what to expect when when you're over here. So
Well, I think we're going to get many cannolis because I know Anthony Simonelli, that's his thing. He always gets us cannolis as well. So
yes,
we are going to
Yeah,
get very
yeah.
fat from
yes,
cannolis,
Yes.
I think, when we next come to visit. So,
That's all right.
um,
it's all
you know,
good.
you see, I like proper Italian pizza. That's what I had when I was in Rome. Proper Italian pizza, and it nothing compares to it. But anyway, anyway,
There's a lot of good pizza over here.
we didn't have pizza when we came to visit. I can't remember why.
Really?
No, we
Huh.
didn't. We didn't have a pizza, and I'm not quite sure. I think it's because
Well,
everything I don't know why it was because I don't even know why we didn't order
we
it
have
one
the
night.
best pizza here, I think.
What, in
Like you,
Jersey? In Jersey?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
Jersey. Yeah, like so, you hear about New York and Chicago and stuff like that, but I'll tell you what,
I think we have the
New
best.
Jersey's whether it's the water, it's the air, it's we're partial to, a lot of good pizza.
I do. Well, you can bring me some pizza then to Penhurst
Oh,
Absolutely,
we can.
absolutely.
because
And
I'll
We have
probably
a great
need
we'll
place.
bring
feeding.
you. There's a local place that will definitely get it. We'll bring it to you. It's Di
Oh,
Lorenzo. It's
that's a
good.
deal. It's a deal. I will be very upset if you
Yeah.
don't.
Oh no, we will not. We are people of our word. We absolutely. Now the question is, so do you like toppings? Do you like it plain, or do you like sausage? Do you mushroom, black
Mushroom,
olive, hot
mushrooms,
peppers,
olives, peppers, all that kind of stuff.
hot peppers, or just peppers?
I don't tend to eat meat on pizza. I
Okay,
like the cheese and the tomato
Me
to come
too.
through.
okay.
But no, I like my olives, I like my mushrooms, I like my onions, all that kind of thing. But
Well, it will happen. Put it on your bucket list. You're getting a good Italian pizza for sure.
well, the thing is, I think Rachel will need alcohol because she's worried about me driving us everywhere. So, yeah, she's
We
already
like that too.
panicking. I don't. I mean, I'm a good driver. I'm a good driver. She's worried I'll go on the wrong side of the road, and I say it's a bit hard to do that on a freeway. Um, so
I
just
know.
yeah.
I've never thought about that. So do you?
Well, it's
Yeah,
just like us going there. It's the same
Mm,
thing.
yeah.
Everything's on.
So is everything? So do you drive on the left side
yeah,
in where you're at? Yeah, you
yeah.
do. Yeah.
We're right-hand drive cars on the left-hand side, but the only thing that's concerning me is the fact that I'm used to my left hand being on my brake or my gear stick. This, I'll be the other way round. So
Yes.
that's going to be a bit weird, but I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm sure I'll be fine. But she doesn't have a driving license, so one of us has got to do it.
Oh, so you got to do it. You'll be
Yeah,
fine.
I'll be
I'm
all
sure
right.
you could get a chauffeur.
Nah, it's not too bad. I think the airport to where we're staying is about an hour, something like that, and it's mostly freeway,
Right,
so
right.
or
Yep.
highway or whatever they're called, main roads. So I'm sure it looks quite an easy route. I've already looked it up. But yes, I'll be
Yeah.
looking forward to my pizza. Well, thank you so much, you two, for being on the show. I've really enjoyed our chat. Um, if people want to find your videos on TikTok, where do they need to go?
So first off, yeah, thank you very much. Very gracious of you to have us on the podcast, and we appreciate it. Yeah, it was a wonderful chat, and yeah, so we're like I said, it was more. We're on. People can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Most of between Instagram and TikTok is where you'll find most of our kind of the audio and video
Mhm.
clips from investigations at 222 PIR, and that's both on TikTok and Instagram and
Awesome.
also YouTube. So
Awesome. Well, have a lovely rest of your day. Again, thank you so much for coming on my show. And can I just say to people who think that they bribed me with pizza, I didn't know about the pizza thing until just now.
he did
So,
not
We didn't know.
know that was totally organic and spontaneous. That was not planned. That was not an agreement to be on the
not at
show
all.
or anything like that.
No, not at
But
all.
yeah,
So,
no, we really do appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you both when you come over in May for Penhurst.
thank you. Thank you. Well, aren't the Team Coco lovely? Aren't they genuinely lovely? So I hope you enjoyed that show on a place that I guarantee most of you won't have heard about. But what it just goes to prove is even the lesser known locations have amazing stories to discover and very, very weird links that can come out to your own personal circumstances.
Yeah,
I genuinely did used to live on a road called Gurney Road when I was younger, so that's still blowing my mind.
yeah.
And
And
we're
if
bit,
and just sorry not to interrupt, but if anybody does come across them, wishes to investigate, they can reach out to us, and we'll put you in contact with Beth.
awesome.
It really is a wonderful location, and there, White Hill, like really, you could do like a trifecta. You could do West Hill, you could do White Hill, you
Hmm.
could do Peachfield, the other place I'll send you the link to, and then Fort Mifflin, because you guys did Fort Mifflin too,
I
right?
did, yeah. Rachel wasn't able to do it. She was poorly that night, but no, I did. I did Mifflin with the wonderful Greg.
Oh, that's
And
right. Yep.
we
So,
had some
but yeah,
very, very amusing stuff
there's so
coming
many,
through.
so many.
Sorry?
Yeah, no. So there's a lot of wonderful locations.
Yeah.
Um,
And I say it was, yeah, Mifflin was an experience, and it's still producing hilarity when I see Rod and Lourdes, because some of the stuff that was coming through on their
yeah,
system kept calling Lourdes a Mexican.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
yeah.
where the joke about her being a Mexican comes from, because it kept
Yep.
calling her a Mexican. When I argued with it, she's not. She's Puerto Rican. No, no, she's Mexican. Yes, that's where that kind of came through. But yeah, it's a wonderful area, and I think it's in all honesty to fly to from the UK. It's not a million miles. It's quite, you can fly into New Jersey, Newark, I think it would be. Newark. Is it Newark? Your airport? Newark, I think.
Yeah. Newark or Philly? Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends. Yeah,
Yep. And
might be a little bit cheaper flying into Newark.
it is cheaper to fly into Newark. But we've got to fly into Philadelphia for Penhurst, because the 2.5 hour drive Rachel really isn't up for if we flew into Newark. Um,
Completely understandable.
yeah. So flying into Philadelphia, but it's not that far. And if you want to explore some places, and you want to, reach out to some of these amazing people and women who live there and learn about the Underground Railroad, I think you should. So on that note, I am not going to tell you who December's guest is going to be, but keep tuned, and there will be another Haunted Histories coming at you in about a month. Have a good evening, sleep tight, and don't worry too much about things that go bump in the night.